Welcome to the Travel Because You Can podcast. I'm Darci Murray, and this is...
I'm Christal Bauer.
And together we've been in travel for well over 50 years. So we've got...
it's like half a century.
Half a century. So we have so many stories to tell.
And people to meet. We want to share our love of travel with you. Hi, everyone, and thanks for tuning in to Travel Because You Can podcast. I'm Christal and...
Darci.
And we are joined today with one of my greatest friends and, of course, a legend in the Canadian travel industry, veteran, great storyteller, Tamara Mallin.
Yay! Thank you so much for coming, Tamara. We're really happy that you're here. We start every episode with a cheersing moment, and we bring in our production team, Miss Brooke. And
Cheers!
Cheers!
What are we drinking today?
We are drinking an alcohol-free sangria from Bevy's. So they make it in-house, just over in Coquitlam, about 15 minutes away from the studio here. And we love it. So
I love it. It's
good,
wonderful.
we
Yeah, it's
saved
great.
the good stuff for you.
We sure did.
Talk about pressure.
Oh, excellent. We're going to get into a lot of the details with Frontier North Adventures, the company that you're currently at. But you know what, Tamara, you've had such an amazing journey things and opportunities that you have done in the travel industry. Why don't you just start off with telling us a little bit about that journey getting you to Frontier North?
Sure. I mean, well, first of all, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And actually, I've watched a few of your podcasts, so I do feel the pressure. This is going to be tough to follow some of the great stories. But I think like both of you have been in the industry for so long.
Mm-hmm.
It was the usual trajectory with a couple of, good luck, twists and turns, and a lot of hard work, really, at the end of the day. I started as a travel advisor. I loved it. I was really fortunate to work in a really unique office, and so we did a lot of celebrity travel and some really unique kind of different kind of travel bookings. But deep down, I always knew I wanted to be on the supplier side. So I was really fortunate. I got in with some of the, winter sun brands back in the day and some of kind of a little bit more of the mass market. And then slowly progressed, moved to Vancouver, and eventually started my own GSA or a multi-line representing small ship and luxury cruising, which really is a personal vacation passion of mine always. Mm-hmm. Which again now aren't small brands. They're really kind of brands. Dean actually has been on quite a few of the brands that I used to work with.
Yep.
And that opened the door to Rocky Mountaineer. And I was really fortunate to have a really long, great stretch with Rocky Mountaineer. And that opened my passion to selling and promoting Canada. I mean, I think we all knew it. And this was even just at the start of Canada 150. And then pre-COVID, when again, the whole Canada, and now so my trajectory of that selling Canada and really promoting Canada has worked up into the past few years. And then I was fortunate that growing up in Winnipeg and working in the travel industry for the first 7 years of my life there, I knew the family that started Frontiers North Adventures. I knew the company, and it gave me the opportunity to promote Manitoba, sell polar bears, belugas, and just the North, of which I have in the past 3-4 years really, I guess, honed my passion for Northern Canada and the subarctic. And it was just, like I said, good luck and a lot of hard work that got me here.
Well, we had Dean on a couple of weeks ago. And at that point, he had not traveled with you. So he was all like giddy and like, I got to go see the belugas. I got to see the belugas. And you're the face behind the belugas. Really, you are. Now, how long has Frontier been around?
So we are just about to celebrate our 40th year anniversary. So we've had many milestones along the way, and it's grown from when Merv and Linda in particular started it. It was kind of like off the side of her desk while she was in Churchill, and then in a small little store in Winnipeg, and has grown to this huge company now that really is a global name brand. But it's still humble in its roots. Still humble destination. Churchill itself is a remote town, no road access. You'll hear anywhere from 600 full-time.
No road access?
No.
Wait a second, just backtrack there. So you have to literally fly into Churchill?
Or train, and the train is, can be questionable because it could have a washout of the tracks like it does currently. Or, there can be issues anytime with the tracks, so fly-in access only. But it is a small town currently. They say between 800 to 900 people, and that includes people who are coming up seasonally.
Wow. And for those of us looking for Churchill on a map,
800
where,
to 900.
yeah,
It's
where,
technically in the 600 full time.
yeah.
That's crazy. Sorry to me to cut you off.
No,
That is so small.
It's super small, but I mean, such a unique way of life up there.
But Churchill, yes, it's small, but if you talk to Dean or just any of our guests or myself now going up there, the history of Churchill is one of the oldest histories in Canada. You get to go to a fort from the late 1600s. A lot of the history, of course, the Hudson Bay Company, the fur, Glenfiddich, the first time it ever came from the UK to North America was through the port of Churchill. So, I mean, it's just steeped in history. We just don't know it. At one time, there was roughly 5,000 people. The U.S. military used to test their rocket launchers in Churchill. So we have things called the rocket greens. We have all these old science space centers that are just the remnants of. They pulled down, then it shrunk down to about 2,500. And then there was a horrible flood in 2017 that washed out the tracks for not quite 2 years. And that really, unfortunately, coupled with COVID, kind of shrunk the town even more. But those who are there now, they are born and raised Churchillians, and they are they are the heart and soul of the community.
Okay, so my job is to ask the really naive questions, okay? We talked about that before we started airing, and because I don't know much about this at all. I know that Dean was excited. But can you please tell me why there's no road?
Permafrost? You're in the subarctic. So, I mean, that's not the
I
only
figured
reason.
it had to be something to do with...
Yeah, that's not the only reason, but it would just be too costly and too difficult to build a road for such a small population. Not to say that they wouldn't like it or want it. And you can drive as far as from Winnipeg to Thompson, but from Thompson there still is really the no road access in that area.
And I think just to give you an idea of how far north it is, located on the Hudson Bay, taking the train is an overnight.
It's 40 hours.
Yeah, 40 hours.
Yeah. We some would say 42 to 45.
Yeah.
2 days.
Yes.
Yeah, because the train itself just doesn't go straight. It really is to help all the communities. So it does kind of a arching way up through dropping off supplies and goods and people to all the small remote communities along the way.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just an amazing distribution system of product. Like it's so interesting. I had the opportunity to fly on, I think it was Perimeter Air or
Calm
Air, yeah. And to go to that airport in Winnipeg. And let me tell you, they have a huge warehouse full of goods being loaded onto these planes to get up to these northern communities.
Well, and not to derail this conversation, but that's part of what we do as a tour operator. We actually have to fly up of the food. We don't rely on the northern store. We have to fly up everything. Our people, we even fly out our garbage. So it is an adventure. Yeah. Both for the food and the cargo.
No, absolutely. It's just such a jewel, I think for
if you
Canada,
ask
right?
Dean about Tundra Tuesdays, he'll say what fun it is. He got to meet and hang out and go to the Tundra pub on a Tuesday, and basically the whole town comes there. And there's karaoke and everyone's speaking, so it's literally everyone there. And then a few group of tourists that have enough chutzpah to want to go to the pub and hang out with the locals.
Oh, I love that.
So a lot of these locals must be very talented because when I was looking at Dean's blog, all the murals, that's why I'm shocked you said 600 to 800 people, because it seems like there were murals everywhere on every corner.
The murals are a beautiful story, and I probably won't get it completely accurate. But following the floods in 2017, there's a very famous Winnipeg artist, Cal, and she brought up or gathered a group of these artists to paint these murals. They're called sea walls.
So they were all done at the same time? She brought all these artists
Yes.
as a
Yes.
like a festival or something.
Yeah, somewhat. Yeah.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, as we were coming down, Dean and us, she was going up to celebrate a 50th birthday, and I had a bunch of friends up there for the weekend for a
Unreal.
party. So these artists themselves have really embraced the town and the culture, and it means a lot to them to have the art on some of these buildings. Yeah. And it's something that you would never know. Like, did you see the picture of Miss Piggy? So that's the aircraft that's painted. It's a great story of this aircraft, and she's called Miss Piggy because the type of aircraft she was just way too heavy to fly, and she kind of dragged. So she didn't make it, and there was a crash landing. And Miss Piggy is still there years after years later. The kids over the years have used to have bonfires and parties inside, and now it has beautiful murals on the outside. No one was hurt. Both pilots walked back to the airport.
Wow.
But so from painting Miss Piggy to some of the other ones right in town, you can see some belugas, lots of polar bears. The Northern Store recently has new paintings. It's that kind of shock and delight you get you're expecting probably whatever you're imagining in your head of Churchill, and then you see this and you're like, wow, who knew? Because the culture in Churchill, from the locals and then from the Dene and some of the other communities, really imprint themselves on your soul and on the community.
It sounds like that. I mean, that's probably one of the biggest takeaways that Dean, I know we're talking a lot about Dean, but
his blog was so good.
Was so good. And just, giving those goosebump moments. So let's talk about a traveler who wants to experience even a little bit about what you're talking about. What type of tours do you offer? How can someone see this?
We have 3 very distinct seasons. So we have what we call the Aurora or Northern Light season. And we primarily sell it in February and March. That said, there's over 300 nights of active Aurora in Churchill. Wow. And that's because it sits right directly in the mid-center of the Aurora Oval. And that's actually one of the things I love to talk about most. I'm about to head to Europe, to 5 different countries, and really promote Northern Lights. Of course, they can go to Finland, Iceland, everywhere else. But I hear people all the time, I've gone twice. I've done a circumnavigation around Iceland. I've still never seen it. I'm like, or you could have just come to Churchill. Like if you saw our blog yesterday about the Northern Lights last night, because fall aurora is spectacular. But we only sell the winter aurora. It's that deep, dark sky. Obviously, not a lot of light pollution with the population happening. And you don't have to chase. A lot of times, you're having to go farther out of a city, or the aurora are, farther out. So you're driving for hours to chase it. You literally are right there in the tundra or in the subarctic to see it. And our aurora is quite different. It has a huge, I know it sounds very ironic, but it has a really big foodie scene involved in it. We have something called Dan's Diner. We've won so many awards. We recently just won one of Canada's top farm-to-table awards. So
what?
Yeah, it's just an incredible experience. So
this is just shocking. Everything is blowing my mind.
Okay.
Now there's award-winning restaurants.
Right.
Yes. 600 people.
Well, I love
it's actually a mobile restaurant. So it's one of
better. They come right to your door.
No, you have to go to it, actually. But yeah, it's one of our cars that we have on that we put out for the Tundra Buggy Lodge. So in the winter, we station it in an area, and then you'll drive out on our Tundra buggies. And so it has the glass roof, so you can see the aurora above you. There's a beautiful fire pit with some ice bar and Glenfiddich out there. And then you're eating inside here in this beautiful restaurant.
We have to put a picture. You have to send us a picture of this Tundra Buggy. Because it's
the restaurant.
And
the restaurant, yeah. Because it's a multi-purpose. So that's in Northern Lights. So that is.
And what time frame is that?
That would be February and March.
And how many layers do you have to wear?
Well, included in your packages, we do have Canada Goose gear. So we are allied partners with Canada Goose. So it will take you down to your -50 or whatever. So boots, ski pants, everything. You do not have to worry about it. As a matter of fact, half the time I feel overdressed. I'm just like, because you think you're so cold and you put on layers, and maybe you're going for like a midnight snowshoe or a walk or you're dog sledding, and it gets a little bit warm.
Well, is it a dry cold in Churchill, like Manitoba or Winnipeg?
I mean, sure.
Yeah. Well, I remember going to Winnipeg in January, reading on my iPhone that it was going to be like -40 Celsius. And I'm like, I'm going to die. How am I going to go to this city in -40?
Yeah.
But let me tell you, it wasn't as bad as -10 in Toronto
Right.
or -10 in Vancouver. It's, I could walk through the snow in my, boots, and they were dry. And so,
yeah, I don't disagree. It's just the wind can be a little bit harsh, but again, the equipment is made for that. This isn't your Canada Goose to wear for the luxury brand. This is purposely built Canada Goose equipment. So
wow.
that is not something that I feel is a barrier in any way. I get why people think that.
Right.
But absolutely it's not.
But it wasn't for my Winnipeg trip.
Yeah.
It was actually, I noticed in most like establishments or malls or whatever in Winnipeg, you walk into them and they're so hot. So I probably was hotter in Winnipeg in the middle of January than I am shopping
That's
here.
like me when I say it. Like I'm always unzipping. No, I get it. Better
so
to
the
be
Aurora
prepared.
season is just about the lights. It's not about the animals.
No animals.
Okay.
No animals. The females are denning. The males are way up north. The belugas are out. The Hudson Bay itself is frozen. So it's not about animals.
Okay.
It is purely Aurora.
Except for the dog watching.
Yeah.
So what countries are travelers coming from to see the Aurora mainly? Are they?
Currently, it is still primarily the Americans with some
interesting.
Canadians. It's hard because when we talk about our long haul guests, we're just 5 or 6 nights on a whole Canada trip, right?
Exactly.
So they tend to come anywhere from the spring to fall because they're maybe adding on Rocky Mountaineer or adding on Quebec or Ontario. And we're just, added to that longer package. So they're not going to come just for Aurora. And they tend not to, we don't really tag on with the ski. But
Right.
So I think there's that. It is hard to ask someone who is, on the doorsteps of Finland to come see us, although our Aurora are no comparison. But, it's a tough ask.
Right. No, I just know a lot of Asian travelers are traveling to see.
So it used to be a stronger market. And then for visa purposes, things like that changed. And that market just really has never recovered from COVID per se.
Interesting.
And if anything, they'll probably do Vancouver, maybe the Rockies, and go to Northwest Territories. So we definitely get guests from everywhere. If anything, I would say we're seeing more Brazilians.
Really?
That seems to be a really big market right now. I am
Yeah.
party with Brazilians. And
Again, mind blown.
Right?
Brazilians and Mexicans. And again, because it's just something they
So
just-
different. So bucket
Exactly.
list, I guess,
Right?
for them,
Totally.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, I get it.
Huh, that's
So
amazing.
then if
So that's January, February.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
And then we have a little bit of a lull, which is great for our team because they need it. And then we move into summer season. So that's what Dean was just on, and that's what we call Beluga season. So everyone thinks of Churchill as the polar bear capital of the world, but we are the Beluga capital of the world too.
Or
So-
the whole world. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so in the Hudson Bay, in the estuary, kind of where Churchill is located, you get roughly 3,500 to 4,500 belugas that come to feed and raise their calves during the summer. There's literally, you look out and there's more belugas in water. And if you recently saw my video on Facebook, you might have, of just me surrounded by belugas. I have one video, we were doing this content shot last week, and everyone's like, my God, you're an incredible kayaker. They thought I was like, I'm not. I had 4 large males basically hoisting me up. My bottom of kayak wasn't even in the water, and they were just pushing me like as if they were my Evinrude motor. It was crazy. And they're like a big fun dolphin. So the summer season is belugas, early bears, and blooms, because the tundra just comes to life. You know, there's that winter incredible what you imagine of the subarctic, but then there's that beauty of the tundra in the summer, and the fireweed and the berries and the belugas and the early bears. So that's the summer, and typically that is kind of a July slides maybe into early September. And again, there is aurora that time of year, and we will always say to guests who wants to see aurora, and they put up their hands, and then your guide will, wake you if they come. But it's a small window because of the number of hours of daylight. You're having 18, 20 hours of daylight.
Yeah.
So it's a small window. But it changes quickly. So last night, the aurora were just next level. So fall aurora. And then we have right now we're just kind of winding up the end of August. I'm going back again next week. So kind of by September, we take a little bit of a break, and then all mayhem starts. And it is polar bear, polar bear, polar bear for October and November. And it's because the polar bears inherently know, like any animal. I mean, watching your other podcasts, and you've been on safaris, they just know where to go. So they sit and scientifically, they sit on this little shelf in the Churchill Wildlife Management Area we call Polar Bear Point. And they sit here because the fresh water is coming up from the Churchill River. Then you have the counterclockwise, I'm so sciencey.
Yeah, love it.
The counterclockwise current of the Hudson Bay. And when those two meet, it is the first place that sea ice forms. And the polar bears haven't eaten at this time anywhere from 4 to 6 months, sometimes can be longer. So they are sitting there waiting for that sea ice. I'll roll back. I'll roll back.
Yes.
Yeah. So they are sitting there waiting for that sea ice to form so they can just go to town on those cute little seals.
Right.
And then they can start feeding. So they tend to be like a little lethargic. They're not going to waste their energy, sparring and fighting. Hence, they're kind of in town, and it gives us the ability to have these incredible viewing adventures because they're just waiting for the buffet to start.
And they're hungry.
Totally.
Right? I mean, I heard a rumor. I don't know if it's true or not, but kids aren't allowed to dress up as polar bears for Halloween. What? I'm telling you, this is the stuff that I hear. I
mean, I've never heard that. I don't think they would. They're like any other kid. They want to be a Marvel or character.
Of course.
But there are some myths that are somewhat true. People don't usually lock their doors or cars because you do want the ability to have to just jump in. So last week we had a polar bear just right on the beach, which is, 1,000 meters from the hotel. So they're
and they're not like other bears. They don't just go for the garbage, or they just wait for the seals.
Yeah, so they're not. I mean, they don't live in the city year round, so they're not habituated to garbage. It can be a problem, but this is a community who's lived with bears their whole life, so they know. And the bears, they just eat seals. That's all they want.
That's all they want. Do they hibernate like regular bears, or they just don't eat?
I was thinking that too, but I didn't want to ask it.
So they do not.
Okay.
And also, fun fact, lots of bears don't hibernate.
Really?
If there's a year-round food source, they don't hibernate.
That's true. That is true. Even like in North Van and Maple Ridge, and absolutely.
We're always sharing pictures. So where I live in North Van, our bears don't hibernate. They slow down and they'll take long naps. But if there's a year-round food source, they don't. So polar bears a little bit different. The female polar bears will den. So they will, once the snow starts coming up, they're going to find like a nice area under a branch, and they're going to den under there starting November once there's enough snow. And they'll stay under there basically till New Year's Eve when they all have their baby polar bears. So we always call that polar bear birthday.
Really? So the young polar bears are usually born New Year's Day.
Yeah. And then they'll stay under there until they're healthy enough to pop up, usually kind of January, March. Female polar bears are very interesting. So they actually can choose to have their babies or not. So they're impregnated, but it doesn't fertilize right away. And if they are fat enough and if they're healthy enough, then they will choose to den and move forward with that pregnancy. If not, they will just naturally lose.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Wow.
That's crazy.
So the mom somewhat hibernates, but she's not really. She's just doing her mom duties. And the males migrate north, and they're going up north as far as they can. And they will be on the sea ice, which is usually solid at this time. And they look for blowholes. So they look for the little blowholes where the seals will pop up, and they pop up once every 1, 2, 4 hours or days. And then they hope to catch it.
Really?
And so that's why they have gone periods potentially without eating. And then as the ice breaks, they are making their way back down because they know the first place that's going to freeze is here in this polar bear point.
Wow.
So how are the mums eating then?
The mums are this, they go 7, 8 months without eating,
Okay.
even longer.
That's
And then they have a healthy baby after starving themselves.
Yeah.
No, because
they're
they
gonna have that
they basically denned
binge.
in November, so they binged from say October to November. Are we good to have a baby? Yes, let's den. Are we good to not have a baby? No. So she might either walk around on the sea ice or she might just den temporarily, especially if she has a yearling. But you know what? The reason why I know all this,
Yeah.
fun fact is Frontiers North. We have an alliance. We're just celebrating our 25 years with Polar Bears International,
Wow.
which actually
Right,
was...
tell us about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it was founded on one of our Tundra buggies. So our founders and owners 25 years ago were all on a Tundra buggy with some of the premier scientists. And really what is now known as Polar Bears International kind of came from those conversations. And it was Polar Bears International that was able to get the polar bears red listed quite a few years ago. And so everything we do has a percentage of our trips go back to Polar Bears International. We work with them in kind in that we work with them what's called Tundra Buggy One. It's a mobile science center that they use during polar bear season. We have their ambassadors in science, and they have their headquarters in Churchill. And all of our tours go to Polar Bears International, and you'll spend an hour there talking and learning from the ambassadors. As well, we have quite a few trips that are very specific. Conservation journey, for example. So you will have scientists, luminaries on board. The same with the Tundra Buggy Lodge. There's always someone from Polar Bears International there. So whether you just have some of those questions, or you're like, hey, can polar bears see color? You know, or you just don't want to ask questions because you're there just to take that perfect shot. You have these scientists with us, and similar with Beluga scientists too.
No, we both want to ask
I know,
questions. I'm like,
I know.
who's going to ask first? Okay, you can go first.
So when you say red listed, is that meaning that they are an endangered species?
Not quite, but soon to be.
Kind to be. So are we on the decline, or are we on the incline, or holding steady?
We're holding steady. The polar bears themselves are healthy. That's actually kind of one of those myths that really drive us crazy. It's sea ice. So it all comes down to climate change. Obviously, the sea ice is happening later, which means the polar bears are going longer without feeding, which means at one time the mums always used to have 2 or 3 cubs. Now you see more often than not 1 cub.
Interesting.
So the polar bears are healthy. That's, you will see pictures or videos, and that's one bear that is old or sick like any other animal. The population of the bears are fine. It's climate change and the sea ice. And that is, without a doubt,
The biggest threat.
yeah,
The biggest threat.
globally. And so that's not just our polar bears. That's the same whether you're in Norway, Russia, Siberia.
Right, because polar bears are in other places in the world.
Oh, yes.
Right? Interesting.
When I was reading Dean's blog, something that stood out to me was the equipment that you guys use, like how the propellers have guards on them, and that your trucks don't make very much noise.
Yeah.
Like you could actually hear the birds as you were moving around.
So those are kind of 2 different things. So what we are most proud of is we are a certified B Corp company. And I know for a lot of people, they've either never heard of this, not really sure what it means. Some people are like, oh, does that mean I have to pay more? What it means is they do. But what it means is everything we do with purpose. It's to take care of the people, the land, and the places we're visiting. It is very stringent requirements to the environment and to the people, part of which we have created the Tundra buggies, those big, Kleenex boxes on wheels that
Right.
everyone sees. So those are registered trademarks to us. Now we, over the years, have been converting them to EV Tundra buggies. And why is that important? Well, one, because it's silent for the bears, the animals, and it does not hurt the environment. Two, it's silent for the guests. So you can hear the birds, you can hear the animals, you can hear everything. So it's a better all viewing experience, both for the environment, the animals, and the people. And they actually operate better in cold, the opposite of what
Really?
you would imagine. I know, right? The opposite. So that's the Tundra buggies. We do work with partners, one in particular that Dean was on, and they're the same thing. Everything they do has a lens on the beluga and keeping sure they're safe. And the belugas love the bubbles that come from them. That's what they're most attracted to. So if you're looking on the back of the Zodiac, you literally, and I'm not exaggerating, you see what you can see here is not even what you see below the water line. Of course, you'll see 10, 15, 20, and they're just like a playful dolphin. It looks like they have a permanent smile. They can twist their head. They look right at you with their eyes. You melt right there. But yeah, they like the water and they like to play with the bubbles. So all of the motors have screens around them to protect all the animals.
Wow. So we will talk about the belugas, but back to the polar bears. You're on a Frontier North, I know, adventure. Are you sleeping on the tundras? Are you give me the whole rundown of I fly into Winnipeg, I get on a charter flight.
Yes.
I go where? And how does this all start?
So I guess in theory, we have two different packages to simplify it out. There's a multitude, but we have what we call a classic town package, your classic polar bear package, and we have the Tundra Buggy Lodge, which I think you're alluding to.
I don't know.
So the classic polar bear package is, everyone just makes their way to Winnipeg. From Winnipeg, we take care of everything. So yes, we have our charter flights that will take you to and from your first night in the hotel. So you meet your guide, you get to meet, the other travelers. And then it'll be a city tour, maybe visit museum, go to Parks Canada, get your gear the night before, depending on the season. And then during the days, you will leave your hotel, our beautiful brand new restored, renovated hotel, Dean saw. And you will go out to what we call our docking station. And that's where you will get on our Tundra buggies.
Wow.
And from there, you drive out into the Churchill Wildlife Management Area and you spend the day on the tundra. So there'll be lunches. You have an interpretive guide. So our guides could be, potentially scientists, photographers, geologists. Like the amount of knowledge that all of our guides have is just mind-blowing to me. And then we have drivers. Some of our drivers have been there for 20, 25 years. I think of Jim. I think of Buggy Bob. He worked at the Winnipeg Zoo and other zoos for 25 years. He knows more about polar bears than even our guides and some of the scientists do. So that's a standard package. That would be 4 or 5 days with various things.
How many times would you go out on the tundra?
Every day, 3 days out of the 5.
Wow. And does it take a long time to see polar bears?
No, not to see them once you get to the Churchill Wildlife Management.
Okay.
I mean, you can see them in town, but they do their best to scooch them out
Right,
of
of course.
But in the Churchill Wildlife Management, they're all there because they're waiting for that sea ice. Like they literally are just converged in this one area.
And how many?
I mean, for example, last week, it's early season. It's not even polar bear season. Each one of the groups, myself included, saw anywhere from 12 to 16 a day.
Oh, my goodness. Wow.
And that's not even polar bear season.
So polar bear season, you do not see belugas, though.
No, they've gone back out.
The main window, right? If I'm hearing everything correctly, is the July, August, early September.
For belugas.
Well, for everything, because you can actually see polar bears during the summer.
You can. I will preface this. Yes, that is our tour, belugas, blooms, and bears.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you're seeing a few bears.
Right.
So I always say to guests, if you truly, truly want to, lock eyes with a polar bear right against a Tundra buggy or, wake up in the lodge and see them shake off the snow, you'd need to go in polar bear season. If you love the belugas and want to see some polar bears close to town and a half a day in the wildlife management area, then absolutely this summer is the trifecta for all. Again, if you want, like you are all about the polar bears.
Yes.
If you're just doing polar bears and the yours
the polar
icing on
bear.
top. But if you want the belugas with some polar bears, then the summer.
Amazing.
I mean,
That's
it's
amazing.
wildlife, right? That's the hardest part when you're working in tours that promote, and we want to also ensure that we never put the wildlife in danger and jeopardy and stuff like that. So, you know, we prioritize them first. So if for some reason we've had a warning not to go in a certain area, we're not going to go. We're not going to do it for the sake of tourism.
Right.
So is there anything we've missed? Is there something
The
that you're
Tundra
like,
Buggy Lodge.
you guys haven't asked me about this. You haven't asked me about this.
Yeah, let's talk about the Tundra Buggy Lodge.
Right. Which is almost impossible to imagine until you see it, especially in action, to be honest.
Okay.
If you think of the Mars rover, which is kind of like an X, right? So it's stationary during polar bear season at Polar Bear Point, as we talked about. So it's a series of what looks like our Tundra buggies all lined up. So there's a kitchen, you know, a staff quarter, and then there's what is Dan's Diner, that fabulous diner in Northern Lights is where the meals are served. Then there's a lounge area. So that's where people go afterwards, maybe have a glass of wine, have a nice warm cup of coffee or tea, listen to a luminary in the evening, play Uno, whatever it is, or just like upload photos. And then there are two
Wings?
sleeping. No, it's all one line. Sleeping cars. Now, I can already hear your mind, so bring on the questions. I'm ready for them. They are a series of bunk beds. So there's 20 guests per car, so a total of 4, each with 3 complete washrooms. I always tell people it is the best slumber party you never knew you wanted to have. So each bunk bed has its own heating and cooling. It has a large shelf. It has plugs. It has one privacy curtain and then one larger privacy curtain. So it's 2 sets of curtains. And it's great because, you know, you can have a fan on. You don't have to have the heat on. I like the plugs so you can charge your phones, anything overnight. And I can't tell you what it's like. And I've been fortunate enough to have experienced just to roll over and see just the forever sunrise on the tundra. It's unbelievable. Or you roll over and you're tired. You look at your phone, it's 2:30, you look outside, and it's just dancing with aurora. And you're like, okay, do I put my parka on and go up to the observation tower on top of the lodge?
Wow.
Or do I just sit here cozy in my Hudson Bay blanket and watch it from here? And then you're having dinner and you look outside and, oh, sorry, I'm just going to go outside and take photos because there's 2 polar bears walking underneath the grate. Like you can touch them. Obviously, you can't touch them, but they can lick your feet. They're right there.
Wow.
Yeah, so it is like being in a safari, but obviously in the subarctic and in the safety of all of this. And the best part is it is completely eco-friendly. We use solar, we use battery generated. Our day buggies come up and they plug in overnight. We take out all our waste. Again, part of being certified B Corp.
Amazing. Yeah.
So we actually leave the land better than when we got there.
Wow, and I think companies like this is so important for the public to learn and, you know, for sustainability and teaching and just experiencing.
And it's for the animals.
Yeah,
like it's
for the
not
animals.
even the sustainability. It's the fact that we are not hurting or endangering anything. And that's, you know, if you're going on wildlife experiences, whether it's an African safari, whether it's, you know, birding, some of the adventures we've done in South Central America, or it's in the Arctic, we are lucky to be in their environment.
Right.
And we should always think of that. Everything we do, that lens of how we decide to spend our travel money should be through that lens.
Well, Tamara, you're just a delight to have on the show.
No kidding.
And I have learned so much.
And everybody will.
And everybody will. Absolutely.
All right,
So-
fun fact. Polar bears are not white.
What? Come on. Look at
See his black nose, his black eyes? Their skin is completely black and their fur is translucent and hollow. And the way the light shines on it makes them look white.
You ruined it for me.
No. And also, they're very dirty. They're never
Are they
white
stinky?
looking. No, they don't smell.
They don't smell.
And they don't make noises. You know, like where I live in North Van, you can smell or hear a bear. No, not at all.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, there's nothing for them to smell, but their paws are dirty.
Well, yeah,
they big
seals
lumber. Yeah, they do get a dirty face.
And I mean, the seals have to be cute too.
Yeah, we don't see
Right?
them, but
Oh, you
what
don't
you
see
do
them.
but what you do see is the foxes, the Arctic foxes,
yeah.
the Arctic hare, the caribou, the ptarmigans, the tundra swans. I think those are just beautiful. The dancing cranes.
What?
Yeah, it's really depending on each season. It's
Yeah,
really
Dean was
amazing.
talking
Yeah.
about the birds in his blog.
And he got some foxes, and he also got some caribou. I was back in town working,
Yeah.
but when they came to town, he ran in. He's like, "Okay, promise not to tell anyone, because you don't want to make the other groups jealous in
Yes,
case
of
they don't
course.
see
Yeah,
it."
yeah.
But yeah, they got everything. Quite a
Beautiful.
few beautiful red fox, the hare, the caribou.
I love
good. I
your
finished it.
earrings.
Oh,
And
yeah, yeah.
I am going to assume there is a bit of a story behind them, so we can't leave without talking about them.
I might have a collection.
You might.
I have quite a strong collection of Indigenous jewelry in particular and sculptures. This one is from an Anishinaabe artist that I happen to love from Manitoba. But every time I'm in Churchill, I do tend to buy some kind of earrings, art, or jewelry. Beading, my moccasins, I always buy for friends and family. I want to support the community
Of
and
course.
friends. Yeah, so I just bought some incredible fox one. I have some nice sealskin cuffs. I have quite the collection.
I love it.
It's beautiful.
They're beautiful. They are
and
absolutely
they don't look heavy
beautiful.
at all.
These ones are not. Some of my
Yeah.
caribou ones are a little bit heavier.
Yeah.
You know, it's caribou bone with all the hand stitch beading, and then on the back is the tide. But sometimes you move, I'm like, oh, there's a forest fire. But no, it's the smell. It's the smell. You can smell the hide.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah. When I first had, when they're first just brought to you, they're handmade, right? So thank you. I do love them.
Yeah, they're beautiful. And anyone thinking to book one of these adventures, I am imagining that the demand is very, very high. And there needs to be somewhat of a booking window. Like, when are we looking
Yeah,
at?
I mean,
question.
I want to say realistically, the demand is always sold out. There is always space, but because it's such small windows of seasonality,
Right.
that's the hardest part, the compression of times. Like, we have to work with the migration period. I don't get to say, magically cue the bears.
Right.
So,
Right.
So yeah, you do need to seasonally book out, a solid year. Some people are booking out 2 years, especially long haul guests, our international guests. That said, accidents happen, things change. Sometimes people have to cancel. So, you can find some space under 6 months, but you have to be a little bit more flexible, maybe early October, late November. But if you want peak season, yes. And if you really want the Tundra Buggy Lodge, if you really want the Belugas, blooms and bears, absolutely. I mean, there's 11 tours and there are 20 guests. So it's really small numbers.
Yeah.
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 No, I love it. What a gift to give one of your children to actually see our
No
North,
kidding.
right?
Yeah.
Makes you proud to be Canadian.
Actually, and
right?
that's what Dean today we were talking about. He has a couple with two of their teenage kids, and they
Yeah.
want to give this opportunity to them before they go off to university and stuff.
Oh,
I love it.
amazing.
As
that.
Canadians promoting Canada, we've got a lot to be proud of. So I think I was so proud reading Dean's blog. Just like this is Canada and a big part of it. So I love it. Okay, do your thing, Darcy. I'm going to stay out of rapid fire because I always mess it up.
No.
Okay, I'll play.
Oh,
So
maybe
we
I
have-
don't want to
yeah,
play.
we
Oh, it's all about you're the only one playing.
You're
actually.
the only one playing.
I need more
so
sangria.
we have this little thing. We're just going to ask a question, and you have to answer.
Oh, only one.
super
Rapidly.
quickly.
Okay,
And then
I thought it was only one.
Rapid fire.
Okay.
Right, rapid fire. And then you can expand on one. Because travel, we could tell stories all day.
Yeah.
So we're going to ask 3 rapid fire
Yeah,
questions, and then you can expand on one.
Expand on one.
Oh, no.
Okay. Can I go first?
Yes.
Okay. Window or aisle?
It's always window.
Me too. Let's see.
Okay. So I was going to
Yeah.
Sorry.
Always. It's not even a thought.
train or small boat.
That is an impossible.
It's hard.
I plead the 5th.
Okay. Take yours.
No
Polar
comment.
bears
No
or
comment.
Polar bears or belugas?
I was waiting for that.
Yeah.
I still lean towards polar bears. I'm sorry, belugas.
There you go. Did you want to expand, or is that your expanding?
I love the belugas. I love the summer and just the experience, because you're so much closer with the belugas. Like, they're literally there. They're coming up to you. But just something about this apex predator that is so gentle and kind and elusive to so many of us in the world. It doesn't matter how many times you see him, you still tear up. Everyone tears up. Everyone cries.
And Stella segment.
Stella.
So Stella Noble is our
Oh, yes.
our suitcase, and we use this segment to talk about what are the must-haves for this Frontier North adventure. So what's in your suitcase?
So the first thing I think people miss out the most on, and I do feel disappointed for them, is binoculars.
Right.
A lot of people just don't think. You don't need the big cameras. Everyone uses their phones nowadays. But even if you get small binoculars, people lend them to each other. The drivers have 1 or 2 on board. But just something about having your own, that at any moment you think you see something moving, you can pick up and look. And that goes for all seasons.
I love
So
that.
without a doubt, binoculars.
So I think this has come up lots of times,
Yeah.
right? I think, when you're looking for that traveler's gift in your family, add binoculars to it.
Mine are the small ones, but I swear they're a miracle.
I love that. Well, Tamara, you have been just a joy. So thank you.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
My mind is blown. I am amazed. So thank you. And I wish everyone the opportunity to experience Northern Canada and a polar bear and a beluga and some summer foliage.
Yeah.
Summer foliage. Anyways, thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Darcy. Thanks, Crystal.
Thanks for listening to the Travel Because You Can podcast. If you liked listening to us, please follow, share, do all those things.
And comment. We'd love to hear your feedback because we really care.
Thanks for listening to the Travel Because You Can podcast. Please follow us on
Instagram?
Instagram. Absolutely.
No.
We're doing...
Yeah, I don't know what the right answer is. Like, follow, share, subscribe.
If you enjoyed the show,
Or not.
don't say that.
Just kidding.
Lock it in. Okay.
Okay, try that.
With my radio voice.
That's a lot. Okay.
Right? Can she not write it down for us?
Keep some of this stuff in.